I gotta cut some of them off, I need help. Oh, let's get it. Upward spiral gang gang. We back at it again. We back at it again, okay? Here we go. Another video. Talking about multidimensional marches, day 24 for y'all. And man, it's so exciting to see myself evolve through this journey. We just had a session with TXL last night where we discovered something mind-shifting and mind-blowing in terms of, we can't share it right here, right now, but I think it's going to be a powerful, powerful realization after this session. It's like we all went through like some kind of a portal, and today I just feel way more aligned, way more energized, you know? I feel like I have tapped into my full purpose. Like my purpose feels very conviction-oriented, like I feel like I can almost taste it. I can almost taste it. I can almost grab it. I can almost have it. All right, let's get right down to business, okay? So, by the way, guys, get some orgone. If you don't have orgone and you're working with your sexual energy, you're doing yourself a disservice, okay? You need to get yourself some orgonite, pyramid. This energy is so, so powerful, and I'm sensing how powerful it actually is because, man, all this stuff, man, even if it's placebo, I understand how powerful this thing is, man. Do you guys realize we're building a movement? We're building a culture. We're building a flow state empire across the planet, okay? We're creating a flow state tribe, a temple of wizards and warlocks and witches and priestesses and goddesses and fairies and sirens and, you know, mages and sages. And it's almost like we're creating like the X-Men in a sense, right? We've always felt like mutants our entire lives, right? We've always felt different, always felt like we were a misfit. I used to look at all of these superheroes growing up, right? Like Phantom or He-Man or, you know, Spider-Man or Batman. I used to look at all these superheroes growing up, you know, and I used to wonder, why don't the people in my life look like that? Like what happened to people thriving towards that superhero essence? And I'm not necessarily saying it's got to be that Ubermensch, you know, archetype either. I'm saying you got to really envision what is it that you truly prefer to be in this lifetime, okay? Not what media has forced you into thinking that you want in order for you to be happy, okay? Because that's gonna keep you in an endless rabbit hole chase too. I've always looked at this thing as experimentation. Like I've given myself different experiments like a scientist would. And I've gone through the process of actually putting myself through the fire and the testing in order for myself to become whole, to become individuated, right? To become a person on this journey and not just a floating blob, okay? And all the accolades that have stacked up and all the, you know, different things that I've done don't compare to that peak state of mind where everything aligns and everything connects. And that's that state where I can access very readily now because I have been doing the work for so long, you see? Like I've been tapping into it for so much time, right? Just consistency, you know, effortlessness, ease, being able to freestyle and spit on a camera like this, like, okay? Spit in my flames like some kind of etheric dragon, right? Just like burning you, but also healing you with that flame, you know? I mean, that's what the journey has been, right? That's what I've been evolving into slowly. And I start to understand that this multidimensional march, I've just been, basically, if you've noticed, my energy has been completely leveling up and leveling up and leveling up, and it seems to be like reaching some kind of precipice point. I think that precipice point is going to be April as I kick that month off. And, you know, as much as I can, get the downloads from this Divine Reflection Beast Camp, and move forward with this ferocity, this vivacity, right? And what I'm thinking about right now is the fact that our limbic system, or our fear-based response. I mean, Primal Sutra at its core was always about taking you from a fear state of mind into a flow state of mind, okay? And once you adopt that state of mind, it starts to affect your body, okay? I've been noticing my body changing over the years, right, over time. And it comes from me, first of all, making those tweaks in my mind. Starting with that, and then allowing the mind to influence the body, and then the body can also influence the mind, correct? So I want to give you a 3-step protocol that if you can do this every day, you'll be set, okay? You don't need to worry about doing all these things or buying all these courses or filling your your entire room with a bunch of clothes and or retail therapy, or like binge eating, or like keeping on binge watching something, some form of an escape from reality, right? Some form of an outlet, some form of a coping mechanism that you've established on this path working, or this pattern of life that makes you feel whole. Everybody's got to pick their poison in a sense, right? So understand that if you make this your poison, okay, if you understand, if you make this your poison, it will actually be your medicine, okay? There is no medicine in illusion, I said a while back, maybe like 2 days back, right? 3 days back. That keeps coming up. There is no medicine in illusion. Illusion has no medicine, okay? To keep yourself in fantasy land isn't the real medicine. It's the integration of the lessons. It's very difficult for us to remember, but it's easy to forget these things, okay? And I'm basing this on the model of Osho, of Dr. Joe Dispenza, of what I've read, of what I've seen, of what I've experienced myself, okay? So if you're just starting off on this journey, it's gonna be very difficult for you to just meditate like that, okay? It is. I'm gonna be mad honest with you, okay? When has it been the time where you actually sit down and do this thing for yourself, right? Maybe there are times where you do it, okay? Doo-doo. He said doo-doo. Okay. When are the times when you actually sit down and you consciously sit down to evolve and meditate, okay? Not that much, not that often, right? But I do know certain clients of mine who are peak performers, who are key, just trailblazers, pioneers in their field, doing something to change the world view around, change the industry, that abundance mindset that I've always spoken about. He had a song called Abundance. I don't know if you guys know that, right? I had a song called Abundance, and it had very Drake vibes to it. If you type in Abundance Scripts, that's SKRIPTZ, you'll find it on my channel Sumeleve, I believe, or Official Scripts, The Official Scripts, I believe, where I've uploaded it. But you guys can see, that was in London, by the way, so that was a while back, right? That was during my master's program. So yeah, man, like I've always had that in me, right? That mindset. I remember when I was just starting out coaching, and I was coaching Lenny J, okay? Who's now, doing big things in the world, He's producing music, he's dropping music videos, and like, man, I love just seeing that, you know what I mean? Like, he's really followed through on his Tao, on his Dharma. And I mean, our relationship is that, like, that upward spiral relationship, and I think the greatest people on this path working, like even, some of the people who have been like deep clients have been like really good friends, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't even consider you a client, bro, honestly. Like, you're just giving me gratitude through money. Like, that's what I feel, and every gift is a sacrifice, My mom taught me this very early on, that with any gift that you get, like you're getting all this free content on YouTube, right? Some people, they've donated to me, right? Like, I just gotten like random donations out of the blue, like, hey man, I really like that video. Because we feel the sense of lack, right? When someone gives something to us like this, and it's just for free or something like that, it's like, it feels like we need to give back in some way, right? And so you could do that, man, by just liking this video, or honestly like sharing it, or at least talking about one of these concepts to someone, or anything, man. Or even if you just talk about flow, right? And you think of me, like, bro, what greater benefit is that? Like, to be associated with a stain with a stain of consciousness, okay? I can't get it out of my shirt, man. I can't get it out of my shirt, bro. Okay? There's too much ultra instinct on my shirt, man. All the girls in the background, take it off, right? All right, fine. So, what was I talking about, man? Oh yeah, the process, right? So the 3-step process. So this is, if you go to a Dr. Joe event, he'll probably take you through something similar. But I think I've kind of modified this to make it very simple for you, okay? So, first of all, it's important to have an intention in mind, okay? Intention will build the kind of atmosphere, the narrative, everything in between. That is the container, okay? The intention is like the framework and the space, the present space that you actually hold. You see what I mean? So with an intention, like let's say that I want to get a better body. Now, what a lot of people do is they'll be like, oh yeah, I want to get a better body. I want to, have a 6-figure income. I want to have this thing, I want to get married by April. Okay, they have too many things that there's, like you're scattering yourself with so many desires that are unfulfilled. Whereas you need to sit down and focus on one for at least a week or a month or something. You get what I mean? Like you can't suddenly have all these goals and your attention is scattered between these different objectives. You get what I mean? AZD said something in class yesterday, and he's tapping into this like Christ consciousness energy right now, and it's very, very powerful and empowering to me to hear that, because I've always looked at religion like that and kind of looked at what is the essence, the juice from these teachings, right? And how can I apply it to my life? And he was saying something around like, if you have goals and you're talking about goals all the time, that means you're not fully filled, you're not fulfilled, right? As you are. You are whole and complete as you are, and yet you seek all of these external goals, whereas this internal process that's happening, right, invisible to us. Now, that doesn't mean don't strive for anything or don't go, but you see, that takes a different level of consciousness to understand what he just said, okay? So really, really key yourself down, like pinpoint, what is the block that I'm going through right now, okay? And what is the intention that I wish to have around this block? So let's say that I can't talk in public. I can't talk on stage. I have stage fright. As an example, okay, you can choose anything that you want. The intention would be, I want to be a dynamic and charismatic public speaker, correct? That is your intention for the practice. So give that a symbol and a gesture, a clap, some intention that reminds you. I'm getting you to create an anchor for this activity. So now when you step into it, it's just go time, right? So it could even be a snap like that, right? But you give yourself the anchor. It could be a clap of the hands. I do this before recording every video. Okay, you guys may have noticed. That gives me, my brain, a reminder or a signal that I'm ready to go. It's go time. I've got to act. I've got to improvise. I've got to allow what needs to come out in this video, right? But I also have a very clear intention. And that is, now in the later is the now of your future. You see, the now is always going to come, and it's going to happen later. But start to understand that what you do now is going to affect your later. You've got to do what you need to do now. Don't keep it for later, you see? Because you keep it for later, you're working not with the timeline right now. You're almost like projecting, right? You're in your imagination trying to project into what is going to happen. And you're worried about what's going to happen instead of what's happening. So you need to first tap into what is happening through this process. So let's give you an anchor, random anchor, okay? Like this, okay? Wakanda forever, okay? Whatever it is for you, man. Like you want to be Superman, go for that. You want to, okay? Just 3 taps like this. Okay, maybe you're a little Italian. All right, man. Oh, forget about it, man. Okay. All right. Capisci. Capisci. I know it's capiche, okay? Chill. So let's tap into that, okay? So give yourself an anchor for this flow state practice. Got it? Good. And go. Boom. That's how you know, okay? Or boom. Usually it's not good to cover your entire body up. It doesn't give your brain a good reminder. It's not good to touch the back of your head with something, because then the brain can actually, get the brain stem to send all the electrical impulses up to the top of the head and give you that, ecstatic or blissful state, okay? So, boom. Then you go into a breath work. This breath work is a Dr. Joe Dispenza style breath work, or the jungle breath work. I can send this to you, by the way, if you give me your email address in the comments, or if you don't want to give it in the comments, you can always DM me, okay? If you don't want it like out in the public like that, like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get spam if I put it in the comment section, right? If you're worried about that, you should just DM me, okay? Just send me your email or join the Telegram and send me your email, and I'll send you the jungle breath work, as well as there's also flow breath work, which is kind of a modified version of jungle breath work as well. So yeah, I'll either send you the flow breath work or the jungle breath work, and they're both the same. It's just modified, in the flow context. I've just modified it very slightly. There's also a flow manifestation audio file. There's a lot of them, and I don't think I'm going to be giving these out for free, actually. Like, if you want to give me a donation for them, I'd prefer that, you know what I mean? Because these things are way too powerful, man. I have people reaching out to me, like, Marcello reached out to me, like, he's getting all the files from Writing Reality. So if you don't have access to those files because, my old email is gone, then you can definitely shoot me a message so that, I can send you over those files. But then again, that's like someone who's committed. You get what I mean? Like, he wants access to that material. And so I've sent it to him. So I'm going to gift the initiative takers, the action takers in this world. I have no sympathy for someone who sits back and lets their transformation happen to them. Okay? Transformation happens through you. You get what I mean? It happens when you take action and you go for something. But you've been sitting back in the sidelines, watching everybody else play the game. Bro, you need to get in the game. You get it? You need to be the participant in this shit, not the bystander. Okay? So, breath work. Inhale. Clench all your intrinsic organs. Okay? So, clench, 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 clench. Perineum, lower abdomen, upper abdomen. Clench, clench, clench. Whole body. And hold it, and squeeze at the top of your head. And then as you exhale, it's like a straw, like a... So you exhale. And you keep repeating this, okay? Let's do it one more time. As you're sipping the air up like a straw, you're clenching, clenching, clenching all your muscles, clenching and tightening all across the chakra line. You're just clench, 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 clench all across, up your spine. Keep holding it, and you can let it go with your teeth slightly closed as well. That reminds you that you're letting something go. Okay, this is one breathwork practice. Breathwork. Then, meditation. The way that Dr. Joe Dispenza does it is he focuses on the space, and meditation is actually meant to make you more aware of the spaciousness, okay? It gives you more of a spaciousness too. So you have this like radiance when you walk through places, right? Your eyes kind of perked up. You're more in a smoothness, okay? So when you can give yourself that kind of meditative reminder right after the breath work, it's going to be much easier for you to meditate. If before that you want to do an ecstatic dance practice where you just play a song and you just like after the after the breath work, you just kind of go and you shake out anything that is like residue, and then you go into meditation, you're going to feel your internal world go topsy-turvy, and it's going to be a lot easier to focus because you're going to feel that amplification of that emotion and that energy, right? Just like buzzing. So then you can stay in your meditation for longer. Another way that you can stay in your meditation for longer, especially as a guy, is if you give yourself a sensual image in your mind and you hold that image for an extended period of time. You can actually ride through tantric waves in terms of your imagination, your mind like this, right? You can let your mind like open new doorways and worldviews, and can go through, explore the maps, and just allow yourself to free fall and walk through these different portals through your meditation. Okay, I love doing that. It's almost like a music video, you want to imagine it as, right? So like the same music that's playing from after you dance, like after you dance you kind of like shake it off and you sit down to meditate. Now after that meditation is done, if you have the energy, it's good to stretch a little bit, do some yoga, back bend, forward bend, maybe some general stretching stuff, right, with your legs and lower pelvic region and your body, right? And then after that practice is done, I would say you need a way to embody all of those teachings and bring it back to that first and original intention. Do you remember that? Do you remember that we set an intention? Okay? So now it comes down to what you learn through these practices and reviewing it, right? Sitting down and actually reviewing it. Like, how is this going to help me? How is this going to expand me or evolve me right now? Okay? It's a very, very powerful practice when you can do this in the right sequence of patterns. And this is the right sequence, I'm telling you. Okay? Start with anchor, then breath work, then a little bit of dance, then let the dance slow you down and you go into a meditation. After the meditation is finished, and you can decide the timings for this. I'm not going to give you like, you have to do it for 5 minutes, okay? Eventually, overall, it's got to be more than a 15-minute practice. Okay, because you need at least 15 minutes to tap into the zone. So you can do like a 30-minute practice easy, right? Easily you can do a 30-minute practice. Wake up at least a little bit, like 30 minutes earlier than usual, and just do it. Just go through it, right? And you start doing this on the regular, you notice you're actually shifting and purging and letting go of the old self, and soon enough, people won't even be able to recognize you. They'll be like, who is this guy? Where did he come from? Where was the dude that I knew in high school that was like so shy and like timid and stuff? Like what? Where did he go? Is he still there? Oh, he's still there. He's just a little bit like in the shadows, like just a tiny bit though, right? And that's what's really gonna happen, bro. I've witnessed this in real time. Myself shifting in front of my eyes, okay? And a lot of my clients, they don't believe it, but like, hey, somebody who has a very big trauma that just shows up randomly in their life, look at the person's face in the mirror the next day. They look like they've aged like 20 years, right? And then the next day, the day after that, let's say something amazing happens and they look like their skin is fresh and they look like a newborn child, like a glowing orb. It's like, whoa. One is the darkness, the shadow work. One is the light work. You notice the difference, and then there's the in-between. And this has just been the process. Cleanse and evolve, right? It's just like, and you go through this process becoming more and more conscious of consciousness, okay? And it just that is the ability for you to control this video game of life, okay? So you have the joystick, right? It's called a joystick. That's funny to say that, right? And I think Miracle J had that realization in the podcast, right? In the second podcast we did. So very, very powerful stuff, man. And how do you integrate, how do you embody, you're probably wondering. Like, how do you do the reviewing phase, right? So the reviewing phase would be you like sitting down and probably like journaling some stuff, or like recording a video like this, or like recording your own voice and just speaking about what you learned in relation to that intention that you set. Like, what shifted internally? What did you feel like you let go of? What were the patterns that you feel like you shifted? It's just basically like a feedback of yourself through that whole process. Like, yeah, I danced a little bit too nerdy like in that one point because I felt like I was releasing some lower back tension. Or like, oh yeah, in the meditation there was like this weird bug and I couldn't really shake the feeling that bug represented my long lost grandmother or something. I don't know, like whatever personal journey that you went through this practice, it's going to reveal a lot about your shadows and your like inner workings. You get what I mean? Because it's actually a psychosomatic process, right? Your mind body connecting process. So you're letting it go on a very physical, visceral, somatic level, right? Where you feel that catharsis, or you might cry, or you might, let go of something after a really rough day. But then you reflect on it, review it, and it's actually now it makes sense for you to remember that this story is happening the way that it is. You didn't forget the fact that you cried last week in this flow practice that you've created for yourself. You get it? So when you review and when you feedback yourself, and maybe you ask others, we have this thing in IMC called private moments, okay? And I definitely want to do one in the future. I know I'm going to. But I really love that example, because you have to basically go into your own space and do something and imagine that there's no audience. Like, you're just doing it based on you. And I think the practice becomes like you letting go and putting up that fourth wall, right? In a sense of allowing yourself to fully be natural and authentic in your own space, and how you can hold your presence and be able to basically amplify your presence through that space and your mindfulness and what you're doing. And you may have these little quirks that you do, you shake your neck, you scratch yourself, you do this, but that practice of the later the review that comes from AZD or like the other people around, right? That's really, really key and really, really powerful, because what that teaches you to do is look at yourself now after the natural event has happened and processed. And they're like these blind spots that you might not be looking at and missing, right? So it might be like, hey, I saw you do something there when you were really looking at your own reflection on that plate. And that reminded me of this time that blah, blah, blah. And this kind of artistic rendition echo chamber, right? That's happening, all these different perspectives coming in and shifting in your consciousness, it's actually going to change you. Because now how you naturally behave and how you perceive yourself to be is just changed because of the other people's opinions. What it's called is the looking glass self in psychology, okay? Now the looking glass self reminds you that whatever people will see me as, I will morph into. So if someone views you as different, you actually start to become that version of you, okay? As AZD gave me that title of Dr. Scripps, I became more of a healer. You get that? Like, the title that you were given, and this is why it's so important to have someone, either you change your name and you self-title yourself, okay, self-titled this is my name from now on, call me this is my nickname from now on. That's like reclaiming your authority and your sovereignty, right? Because your name is like almost like a slave name. I'm going to be honest with you, right? It's just a name you were given. And now every time someone calls out your name, you just look immediately. You're like, you're bound to it. You get it? You are a prisoner to that name. But now if you give yourself a name, like I've given myself, Dr. Scripps, or, so many other people in IMC Nation have been given names as well, like this, like Miracle J, for instance, right? And that story and how it shifts. Ryu for Ryan, right? And like all of these different themes thematically showing up and helping us to actually embody and connect with our archetypes and going through this kind of portal of reflection. And as we start to understand this, it becomes a very, very important dynamic. You get it? That dynamic is here to help us shift. That dynamic is here to make sure that we are a continuous line of progression. Okay, that we are spiraling upwards but inwards, okay? So inwards, upwards, inwards, upwards. That's the upward spiral gang, right? We keep going inwards to go and transcend and level up, okay? Where's the edge? Lean into it. Lean into it, transcend, level up, okay? Evolve through that process, push yourself a little bit. You got to do that. You got to really do that, because it's not going to happen just by you falling victim to your old patterns. You get what I mean? It's really not, because the old patterns are actually keeping you stuck because, oh man, I got to remind you guys of this. All my clients should definitely look this up, okay? Actually, I'll leave the link in the description, okay? Just check it out. It's a psychological line of questioning that helps you release huge energetic tension in the body, and like different things might come up through that process, okay? and you'll just, whoo, whoo, sheesh, you'll feel like the releases as this woman is answering like Aubrey Marcus and this woman, right? She teaches sex magic and stuff like this. So like listen to that entire like portion of that, okay? And it's going to be very, very, very powerful if you tap into this. I'm telling you, it's going to be absolutely powerful. And everybody who is my client should watch this. And anybody who's a fan of this channel should watch this. Definitely. This is going to change your day up. I'm telling you. If you're having a difficulty to feel through your emotions and it's tough for you, this is what you need to watch right now. And it's helped me out. It's going to help you out. Guaranteed. It's a psychological trick that helps you to release and get to that energetic catharsis. Okay? Have an incredible day. May the flow be with you and stay legendary. Let's go. Boom.